I told ChatGPT everything I know about me and everything I know about you, and it built watch collections for both of us, and it said... I'm still not.
ChatGPT said I'm an asshole.
No.
What is up, Watch fam? I am Christian, the curator of the Theo and Harris Vintage Watch Shop.
My name is Michael.
So today is a weird kind of episode. Today we're talking about watch collecting. We're talking about some really interesting brands from Long & Zone and Vacheron to a bunch of really wild independent brands you probably have never heard of.
I haven't heard of most of them, yeah.
HYT, Urwerk, Ressence, brands that, display time in a way that never before had been conceived, right? Truly unique.
Yeah.
Brands that people ultimately get into, some big collectors, after they've already had everything else. Then they say, well, what else out
How
there?
weird
What else
can
is
you
out
make
there?
it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Real independent watchmaking. And the way, or what pushed us to talk about all of these different brands, again, from Rolex and Lange to Urwerk and HYT.
Well, including a very weird Rolex suggestion for you. That was the freakiest part of this entire thing.
A custom modification, I don't know how, bizarre. Yeah. But what pushed us was actually AI. Michael inputted kind of summaries about himself and myself into ChatGPT. And then ChatGPT used whatever, information it could gather on the internet or its own synthesizing. I don't understand how AI works. I'll talk more about that later. But it put together shockingly accurate watch collections for the two of us.
With reasons as to why I would suggest it for you.
Right.
Yeah.
So today's conversation isn't about AI. It's not about ChatGPT. But it is a conversation about watch collecting that was, again, pretty finely tuned by this online software that I truly don't understand.
Yeah.
You're like, it's not software, it's hardware. I'm like, okay.
It's also not hardware.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. So that's it. Let's get into some wild watches.
Let's do it. I said, hey ChatGPT, I am a 27-year-old male. This reads like a dating profile, but I'm a 27-year-old male from Cape Cod, Massachusetts with a love of watch collecting. I wanted to see if you could put together a 5-piece wristwatch collection for me with a budget of $75,000. I'm a filmmaker by trade who works in the watch world, so I'm looking for something a bit more daring and obscure. I love the outdoors and nature, I love to write, and I'm pretty active, which you'd probably argue. I drive a 2014 Camry and live in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. My favorite interior design is mixed between mid-century modern and industrial minimalism. I'm looking for watches that I can be proud of. Some of my favorites are the Speedmaster, the Zenith Revival Shadow, the Nomos Ahoy, vintage Cartiers, the Rolex Daytona, and Casio digital watches.
I never could have written that, by the way. Really? Not about you, even about myself.
Wait till I read you yours.
I really couldn't. I'd be like, I'm 27. I like gold things.
Why do you want to know anything?
Why do you want to know? This is ridiculous.
So I said they need to be under 38 millimeters and should be incredibly unique and obscure. The first things that I recommended were like 50 millimeters. And I was like, under 38.
Got it.
So anyways, we'll go through it very fast. The Urwerk UR-105 CT Streamliner is an avant-garde choice with a 39.5 millimeter case. Close enough, ChatGPT.
Pretty close. That's not the Urwerk I'd recommend for you, but I would definitely get you an Urwerk.
Yeah,
for sure.
Urwerks are incredible.
Incredibly cool.
Absolutely incredible.
Yep.
$68,000.
Yep. You can get a really good pre-owned, like a premium Urwerk for around $50,000. Wow. Like I've considered it just because they're so fucking wild and cool.
They're fantastic.
I would
watches.
love to never wear it. It'd be insane. Paul has one.
I would love to have that and just never.
Yeah. When's the last time you wore your Urwerk, Paul?
Paul, you can send it to me. Yeah. I will send it back when I have the time. This watch show, and I asked it to explain why it chose it for me and you. This watch showcasing cutting-edge engineering and futuristic aesthetic that aligns with your love for the film industry and creativity. Cool. I see how that relates to film. This is a watch I have no interest in buying. This next one. Do you know what this is?
I mean, it's an MB&F. I just don't know what it is.
MB&F Legacy Machine Flying T. 38.5 millimeter timepiece that defies traditional watch design. Features a flying tourbillon suspended above the dial, creating an eye-catching and poetic display of time. This watch represents a harmonious blend of art and watchmaking, making it a fascinating addition to your collection.
I do think that MB&F is something that would be cool for you. ChatGPT is right in the fact that it is kind of avant-garde and daring and, and different and could keep your interest. Maybe you wouldn't sell it. I don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't pick that one. I don't love that one.
I would say it missed the mark because...
I think the ChatGPT forgot that it's ugly. That's what they forgot.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just... saying I'm pretty active and have this lifestyle, like it doesn't particularly make sense that this is what I do.
Right, you're right. Saying that you're a nature guy and you're active, you're right.
That would make no sense. Yours is pretty bad.
Oh, Ressence! Fuck off!
This is the video's already live of you recommending.
Yeah.
I think it's this exact watch. The Ressence Type 1 Slim. Slim. Christian calls me Slim. I call him Slim. With a 39mm case, it reimagines how time can be displayed. The unique dial design features rotating discs that indicate hours, minutes, and seconds without traditional hands, although it technically has one. This artistic and minimalistic approach to telling time makes it daring and intellectually stimulating choice for your collection.
I agree.
I'm stimulated.
Yeah, I think that's probably a golden thread here, right? Intellectual stimulation. That's kind of what they've done here for you. Yeah. It's nothing classic about any of these watches. It's all what's going to keep this, creative, intellectual, stimulated.
Yeah.
Little do they know it's a little hot cup of tea and
a warm blanket,
a
nice
and a beautiful woman. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, I have two thoughts at the moment. One, sure. ChatGPT is not really listening to your price suggestions.
Completely ignored it.
It's like, okay, that's a little thing.
Right.
With Ressence, I love Ressence, right? Ressence to me represents such value under $20,000. They're one of the most intuitive brands out there.
Truly.
But again, I said under 20,000, which isn't really retail, right? Ressence does take quite of a hit on the secondary market.
Yes.
Now, not all watches take hits on secondary markets. Of course, some watches appreciate tremendously, which I think could be something that could happen in Ressence's future, right? Like this long-term investment value.
Not to say
you should buy it like that, but then once that ship does kind of set sail, the prices just become so unaffordable you can never get it again.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And at least for most people like myself, you say, geez, like I wish I bought that, I wish I could afford to have a piece of it at least.
Exactly.
Right? This idea of kind of like, sharing a watch or fractional ownership as it works out with our friends here at Masterworks. Yeah. Who can afford to really buy
a Picasso, a Banksy, a Monet, anything like that.
Exactly. While yes, they're terrific investments with these huge historical returns, which we'll talk about in a second, but who has the cash? I mean, that's just too much cash, right? So what Masterworks has basically come up with is they've married the intelligence and the insight of experts in the art world with experts in technology and finance to enable fractional ownership, this community where people can invest and buy a piece of these major
Banksy,
names.
Picasso, Monet, anybody that you'd expect to hear in a museum. Masterworks to date has sold over $45 million in art. They've had 15 exits so far. With the success and seeing how much the art market has grown, over 750,000 people have already signed up for Masterworks. So many, in fact, that there is a wait list. We're both excited to start investing with Masterworks.
No, the success of Masterworks is unbelievable, but it makes sense, right?
Yes.
People want to diversify their portfolio, and they also want to have fun and do things that are interesting and kind of intellectually provoking. Highly recommend. And then you go ahead and skip the line, make an account, and take a look at what they're offering, because this fractional ownership, I think, really is it's just I dare to say it's the future, but in many ways it is the future. People are more open to maybe years ago I wasn't able to afford that, but now with technology I can, in a way.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So I'm a big Masterworks guy, so thank you Masterworks for sponsoring today's video.
Yeah, so if you're looking to skip that wait list, you can check out the link in our description. Okay, next up, have you ever seen
HYT?
You have seen it.
When I first got into watch collecting, one of my first friends was a independent collector, and I really haven't seen these watches since because I don't really hang out in independent collecting circles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I basically know all these watches.
I've never seen this watch. Hi, Gabe. I've never seen this watch in my entire life. Never even heard of it.
Yeah.
HYT H0 Black Fluid offers a truly unusual display of time with its fluidic module that indicates hours using liquids. 39 millimeters, they nailed that. Mechanical movement that interacts with colored fluids, creating a mesmerizing and unconventional time display.
Yeah. It's very cool.
Perfectly suited for my level of filmmaking.
Good luck servicing that.
I cracked my watch and the water came out. They're like, what?
So what time is it? They're like, what time did you do it? You're like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's all over the counter.
Ikepod.
This is where we got way off, but also not way off.
Right.
Ikepod, fantastic. Mm-hmm. Coolest designs ever. Every single watch from Ikepod, though, is...
Ever is a really strong word.
I think they'd be Genta.
I'm like, the Mickey Mouse watch?
You're kidding. No, I think this is fascinating. I really like the design, but all of their watches are hockey pucks. And for some reason, ChatGPT recommended me the largest one, literally called the Megapod.
Yeah.
Which I think is funny. They said it was 40 millimeters. It's actually 46 millimeters. It's like massive. This watch doesn't fit the bill at all.
Right.
But a watch that I do love is the Solaris.
Oh, I've never seen that one before.
It's quartz, but fantastic. I think it's so cool.
Very cool. This is a cool episode just about watches people have never heard of. It's kind of cool. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And then I said one more watch. That was 5. But I was like, I want one more. I want a PVD blacked out watch. Recommended me the weirdest watch that I've ever seen. You may have heard of this. You may have not. The Romain Jerome Moon Orbiter PVD.
There's a photo of Ben Clymer wearing one of these back years ago.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was the same model, but yes. This is a weird collection. I've never actually seen one of these.
Full level to me of you went so unique and conceptual that now I also wouldn't be surprised to see this in a mall. Without obviously some complications and stuff like that.
Yes, you're right. Yes. Yes. On a design level, you're a full circle, you're back at the mall. Yes.
You're back. But now this is an incredibly rare watch that's a this and that.
Right.
But it's a truly extraordinary timepiece, according to ChatGPT, that embraces an avant-garde design inspired by space exploration. 43 millimeter case, it might be slightly larger, but its distinctive appearance in PVD coated black finish make it a striking addition to your collection. Watch features an authentic materials from the Apollo 11, including lunar dust and fragments from the spacecraft. It not only showcases the brand's creativity, but also symbolizes humanity's adventure beyond our planet. Dude, I know this tiny watch company that would use that marketing to the end of time.
What's the tiny watch company?
It's this brand called Omega.
Oh, yeah. Didn't they, where did they go? To the moon? No.
They're trying. They're trying to get to the moon. Yeah. As a filmmaker with a love for daring and obscure timepieces, the Moon Orbiter PVD will undoubtedly capture your imagination and be a captivating piece in your collection.
You know what's funny is, like, this almost reminds me of, like, what Sam would say, like, after reading an astrology thing to a girl, right?
Yeah.
Like, after understanding that you are, like, a caretaker of people, I recommend that that's exactly what this is.
You want to know the grand finale? Or the best part of all of this?
Yep.
The only watch that I would wear here, besides the one that I said, the Ikepods that I would wear, is the one that you picked out for me.
How funny, right?
Yeah, the Ressence.
Yeah, that is, it's, in my opinion, the coolest watch. It balances. I think it's just a great balanced independent. You know, it's certainly unique and conceptual, but it doesn't. I don't think it breaks any rules that shouldn't be broken. Right? I think that it is still appealing and it's easy to wear and it's easy to read, relatively speaking. I think that it's just a fucking cool, fun watch. And I think the price point is great. You know, you can get Ressence watches under 20 grand. I don't think you can get watches that are more fun. Who needs a Ressence and they won't buy one because he's just a little, little clout slut, is John. Big Wrist John.
Oh, Big Wrist John.
John could carry one of those Ressence.
An actual full-size one.
Full-size Ressence with the oil and everything.
Yep.
The fact that he's letting that big wrist go to waste kills me.
Do you say that to him whenever you see him? Look at that big wrist.
Yeah, you letting it go to waste.
So that's my collection that got recommended to me by AI. Funny enough, the only one that I would get is what you picked.
Yep.
But when we go to yours, this is the first one I'm going to show you. We're going to go through things quick again. This is the basic first iteration. I pushed it further so we can get to interesting watches. But I want to show off the weird thing that ChatGPT said.
Yep.
This is what I wrote for you. Obviously,
I'm just going to look at the camera.
Hi, ChatGPT. I'm a 27-year-old male from Westfield, New Jersey, with a love of watch collecting. I wanted to see if you could put together a 5-piece wristwatch collection for me with a budget of $1 million. A little bit about me. I'm Italian-American, and I just love that. I think about it maybe 24 hours a day. I own a vintage wristwatch shop, so I've seen it all, but I have a love for small, vintage gold dress watches. I love food and drink, I love to write, and I love nothing more than my family. In fact, I wish we had a big house that we could all live in together. I drive a G-Wagon and live in a gorgeous apartment. My favorite interior design is a mix between modern and old world. I have a gun hanging on my wall, and I'm not sure if it's loaded. I'm looking for watches that I can be proud of. I love to build business and to mark my achievements with watches. Some of my favorites that shouldn't be included on this list are the Cartier Tank, vintage Piagets, enameled watch dials, and the Rolex Datejust. Can you find similar watches for me?
Wow, that's great. I'm crying. No one's ever said anything so nice to me before.
The big house.
I wish we all just had a big house we could all just live in. I'm Italian-American and I think about it maybe 24 hours a day.
I have a gun on the wall. I don't know if it's
loaded.
I'm too scared to check. How How would you recommend I look to see this?
Oh my God.
Okay, so we're going to go through these super fast because this is the very bland one they recommended. 8 long is, it's very bland. It's a Saxonia thing.
37 in rows.
Yeah, 37
fantastic
in rows.
watch. Grail watch for 1 million people.
The German heritage of this watch aligns with your appreciation for your Italian-American roots and passion for traditional craftsmanship.
Oh, okay. Va bene.
Then this is where it's funny because they're basically recommending the same watch again and again.
Yep.
The Vacheron Constantin Patrimony manual wind 36 millimeter 18 karat yellow gold case. This timepiece of timeless design represents your love for old world elegance, and Vacheron's rich history pays homage to your Italian heritage.
What is it? I don't understand design, right? I don't know much about art, but I know what I like, right? Like, put the Vacheron next to the Lange.
Yep.
Why? What about these design elements that the Vacheron is decidedly more feminine than the Lange? Or unless you disagree.
No, I know the answer to this.
Is it the curved lugs? What is it?
It is, and this is based off of the back of jean pockets. This is how I know it. Feminine things usually have more roundness, and men's are very brutalist and straightforward.
Right, so we're seeing the roundness here. You have
The
thinner
dial even
hands.
looks rounded.
It does, right?
Yeah.
Whereas that Saxonia is more matter of fact.
It's very German.
It's very soft German.
Yes.
Yeah.
We saw the inspiration for Lange, for the Lange date.
At the Dresden Opera House.
And then I lost Tesla keys, and we had to run around everywhere looking for them.
Great story.
JLC Reverso Tribute Small Seconds.
Yep.
The Reverso's unique... Oh, you're going to like this one. The Reverso's unique concept, allowing you to flip the case and protect the dial, symbolizes your wish for togetherness with your family in a big house.
That's beautiful.
It's funny, but also like, wow, you really put that in an interesting way.
Yeah. The one thing about the Reverso... This may be my favorite watch that they've put forth so far. For me, the Lange is a little bit, a little bit undecorated, a little bit, well, it's just a funny thing to say about Lange, but a little bit unornate. And the Vacheron was a little bit feminine for me. This JLC is my favorite watch so far. It's a stunning watch. Absolutely. It's an incredible piece. But the one thing about JLC these days is these price hikes, right? JLC, some reverses are up over 40% in price. I've talked to other manufacturers and they're saying, oh, maybe 3% here, 3% there.
We talked to a brand that was planning a PR move to explain their 3% raise.
And JLC's up 40%. Now, I have a lot more thoughts on this JLC move and other moves in the industry, right?
Yes,
that I don't particularly want to share at this moment, but we will actually talk about this on an upcoming podcast.
As we should.
On the Zero. If you'd like to join our podcast community, click on the link down below. Shoot me a DM over there, and we'll have a full conversation about all of this, really. But I just don't want to go super public. I have to kind of be careful.
It's a tough line.
But we can be a little bit more candid in our community on the Zero. So go sign up. What is the next watch on the list?
The next watch.
Piaget.
Yes.
This is a little bit of a boring Piaget, but it is a Piaget and it listened.
Yes, it is. Piaget, Altiplano. As an Italian-American who appreciates fine food and drink, the Altiplano epitomizes sophistication and luxury, making it a fitting addition to your collection. Rolex Cellini Time, 39 millimeters. Mm-hmm. Okay, that doesn't particularly fit well, but you're a huge fan of, with a custom modification to 37 millimeters.
Oh my God,
ChatGPT recommended that you customize a Cellini to fit your watch better.
How did ChatGPT even know that people,
well, so that's the thing.
Like, Rolex, no, it knows everything.
A Rolex. I'm like, well, that's the thing. It's going to kill us all.
That's the point.
Like, what? Rolex holds special significance, and Cellini's refined design will mark your achievements in the watch world. I then went on to say, what made you say that it should be customized? And it was like, that's what you would like better. I think that you would like this watch, but in a smaller form factor.
Wow.
And then I was like, how do I do that? And it was like, you can't do it through Rolex, but because an interesting thing that we'll talk about in a second, with your knowledge of watches, you can find people that will cut and customize a case.
How crazy. Huh?
That's weird.
That is weird.
So then I was like, you're recommending the same watch. I didn't push it hard enough. So then I pushed it harder by saying, do you know Christian Zeron? No. Do you know Theo and Harris? Yes. Theo and Harris is a brand that gave me a ton of information, founded and owned by Christian Zeron. Then I said, well, what can you tell me about Christian? Tells me a lot about you. And I was like, what would you recommend based off of what you know about him? Recommended watches. I said, let's get weirder a few times. And then we got to an actual interesting collection.
Oh my God.
So with all that said, now we get more interesting.
If you love watches like I do, if you think that they mean something more than the time, then head on over to theoandharris.com and shop our selection of vintage watches and handmade straps. They're unique and they're special, and once they're gone for good.
The first one is the FP Journe Octa Automatique Lune.
Lune. That is, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could get an FP Journe, that's a good one to get. Getting an FP Journe is obviously very difficult. I would love an FP Journe.
That is an insane watch.
This is a great one. This has got a lot going on, but it's a great watch. Yeah.
And now we're getting interested.
Oh yeah,
now we're getting interested.
Yeah. Now you're
Longa 1 time zone, which is beefier, but it's definitely more interesting than the Saxonia, which is probably why.
For sure. I'm more of a complicated Longa guy, meaning even just a Longa 1 over the Saxonia.
Yeah.
My dad wants to get a Saxonia in 1815, and I always tell him, like, well, if we're going to get a Longa, he's like, why are you saying we?
Well,
with
AI coming, we probably won't have enough food to sustain our whole family, even in a big house.
Okay. A Moser Endeavor Perpetual. Wow.
Yes.
This watch is wild because it's a perpetual without any actual instrumentation on the dial.
I love that.
That's wild.
I did not know this Moser existed, and I've said it a few times. For the most part, I'm not a fan of Moser's design style at all. This is exactly what I talked to you about not too long ago, where I was like, I would love it knowing that my watch is incredibly complicated, but you essentially hiding all of that from me. And that is exactly what's happening here.
Yes. I mean, you're really getting into, again, back to like this conceptual, that's weird, right? I mean, the idea that you would pay for all of this complication and then have this tick in your brain that says,
hide it.
Hide it. Don't display it in a beautiful manner. Hide it.
That to me, I'm like, what? Like, that's incredible.
You're clearly insane. You're a sick person.
Oh, yeah. Do that. We have, again, MB&F Legacy Machine 101.
Nice watch.
Kind of accurate. Would you wear that?
I have tried on some MB&Fs that I would wear. I don't know if that's the one, but I have tried on MB&Fs that I would wear.
Okay, yeah. I think MB&F it runs that line of being like, that looks like something I should admire, not wear.
I'll find you the Urwerk. That's really nice.
Yeah, because the last thing is it essentially recommended the same watch to both of us. The Urwerk UR105 CT Kryptonite. The really fascinating part of all of that is based off of information it found from you online.
That's bizarre.
I pushed it a little harder to get more interesting, but that's what it put together.
That's what it found about me online.
That's weird. That is it, dude. That is chat. Mine is, I had to obviously like finesse it a little bit to get interesting, but yours is accurate with a description.
Yeah.
But even more unique, and it was accurate before I pushed it really hard, but finding all that information just from online, I was like, that's wild.
It's kind of wild, right?
Especially the modify the watch.
ChatGPT is going to kill us all.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode. If you liked it, subscribe to our channel for more. If you'd like to listen to our weekly podcast, go down below and click to join our family at The Zero. We release podcasts once a week with different guests, from Michael all the way to industry veterans that we pick their brain about watch industry, inside information and history. It's incredible. It is not free, but we give out credits to everyone who joins, making it functionally free throughout the year. I hope to see you there. If you do sign up, shoot me a DM and we can strike up a little conversation. All right. See you guys over on The Zero.